This is a box of PG Tips tea bags, the original and best and long-lasting. Jolly good. This is a box of Asda's own brand. One obviously being a copy of the other, which brings us on to copies and clones of knives, to wit, this. This is the Outis Rat. I mean, it's not even really trying to disguise what it's copying, is it? Very plain box, doesn't say where it's made, which I actually thought was illegal in this country. I thought it had to. So in the box you get the knife, which actually usually has this pocket, well, actually does have this pocket clip attached. I took it off. I just don't like them, don't see the point. Not carrying it in this country anyway, don't see the point. So the original, designed by Jeff Randall. Jeff Randall, 5-year waiting list for some of his knives. Cost £40. Made of AU58 steel and an unknown material for its handle. This was a tenner. Apparently it is by a British company, I'm not really sure. Obviously Mr. Randall is going to get no money at all from this, whereas he's going to get some money from the rats that he sells. So that's one ethical question already. Somebody's actually put all the effort in to design what is a blindingly good knife. And his work's basically been stolen. Stolen, I think it's a very good term. It is such a close copy. The two real differentials you will see immediately, there's nothing on the blade, whereas the Ontario Rats have quite a lot on the blade. And these 3 little holes for the pocket clip, whereas the original has 4. But apart from that, it is a clone. It's a copy, it's a very close copy. Dimensionally, it matches exactly the Ontario Rat. And they do it in inches, so we'll do it the same, shall we? There we go, 3.5-inch blade. Handle about the right, 5-inch handle. I think they said it's like 4.75 inches, something like that when it's closed. Well, yes, no, it isn't. There we go. Apart from that, it is a copy. Decent thick blade. You can see there. Which brings us to a bit of a dilemma, really. Do we encourage people copying other people's work and not giving them any money for it? Ganzo had this issue, of course, with some of their Spyderco copies, and I believe the very earliest Spyderco, Ganzo Spyderco copy is no longer actually for sale. I've got one, and again, it's only a couple of quid. Original £40, this one a tenner. But obviously, the person who designed it, the person who thought, "Oh, that's a decent size, now I want to have one of these," isn't going to get any money out of it. Somebody else has stolen his work. What we have got, however, is a pretty nice knife. Feels like G10. It's quite rough on there, actually. And the steel is, if we come to focus, there we go, BCR 14 MOV. It's surprisingly tough for a £10 knife, although I say it's £10. It was in Blades and Bows death sale, which is terribly sad. And it's still going on, so please do support Blade and Bows. Go and buy something off them. Decent company, and now being crucified by the government. What you get, hand-filling knife. Oh, yes, nice, quite aggressive jimping there. Really nice opening, double thumb stud, which is exactly the same as the Ontario Rat. They've not even bothered changing that. Opens with a real satisfying click. Depending on where you put your hand, you can actually kind of tune this like a wooden instrument. Not very good. Really decent. Lovely grind on it. It is flipping sharp. Sharper than really you'd expect something this cheap to be. Yep, very sharp. Forgotten the pencils again. Bit of a dilemma, this one. I bought it because it was an imitation of a rat, and I wanted one, and I actually thought they were more expensive. Perhaps I think this should be the advice of this channel from now on, is actually stop buying hundreds and hundreds of cheap knives and buy better quality ones. Decent thick knife. Let's have a look at the action as we open it up. So it gets beautifully centered, really nicely centered. Unlike, shall we say, my much more expensive buck knife. Proper buck 110. I wouldn't even call that even vaguely centered, frankly. That's frankly ridiculous. And this, of course, was 7 times the amount of this knife. If a cheap company like that can do it, why the hell can't Buck? I'm really, really disappointed with that. Still like it, though. Anyway, again, look, it's a big, chunky old knife, isn't it? Let's have a little look as it opens. Good and firm. Real firm lock-up. That's gone really nicely over there. Yeah, I mean, you're getting a decent knife for a tenner. Apparently it's a British company as well, Outis. I've never heard of them, but they're flogging their wares on a couple of sites now. It is a nice big meaty knife. You're not going to lose this. Not even I could lose this. Lanyard hole, which is really good. I did actually a little piece of paracord in it last night. I was just playing around with it, but I took it out for this review. Yeah, ethically rather iffy. It's a copy. Apart from the materials, it's an exact copy. I think Range Rover have just won a case against a Chinese firm, obviously clone in everything, frankly. They clone Range Rovers. They've actually now finally persuaded the Chinese courts to tell them to stop producing it. We may see that more coming in with knives. I think the original Ganzo Spyderco copy is no longer available because it was an exact copy. I've got one, and it is really nice. And apparently made in the same factory as the original Spydercos, but we won't go into that. This certainly isn't. No idea where it's made. Yeah, it's a tricky one, this. It's a really, really nice knife. Somebody else's work has been stolen. Not sure what to do about this, really. I'm keeping it, obviously, and I like it. But, again, it's ethically, I think it's a little bit iffy. But it does allow people like me to own expensive knives that aren't actually very expensive. This was a tenner. I think they said the original was 40. Only £40. I thought it'd be more than that. This, I think, is going to be the motto for this channel. Stop buying lots of cheap knives. Buy better quality knives. So, what do we think? Is it the PG tips of knives? Or is it crappy Asda's tea bags?